Bleeding Purple Podcast.
Deep drop, steps up in the pocket. Hill fires the right side. Caught by Diggs. Stay alive. Oh my God! 30, no tag. Are you kidding me? The finish in the Minneapolis. No way! Stephon Diggs in the middle of the Vikings. On the New Orleans Saints. It's a 61-yard Minneapolis miracle. I can't believe what I just saw. What an unbelievable play.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in to Bleeding Purple, podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. My name is Tyler Haig. I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Ryan Patrick. Hello, good sir. It's that time of year. Mock drafts are happening, and the draft is tomorrow.
Thursday. Yeah.
This is our big
here.
draft extravaganza show. It's not going to be that big of a deal, draft-wise, but we're going to go through some stuff, right? We're going to talk about some stuff. Let's start, before we get into all of the draft stuff, let's talk about some news stuff that we had missed because we usually do this on Monday. It is now Wednesday. It's been over a week. Some things have happened. First thing I want to mention is Kentrell Brothers suspended 4 games, and I'm going to steal that Deadspin article, largely hypothetical games at this point. Do you think he is going to be on this team to serve those 4 games?
It's going to be hard because he was mainly a special teams guy anyways. And the Vikings can draft someone or sign an undrafted free agent to
really bad timing for him.
Take over that role. He's going to have to be amazing in training camp if he makes it that far in the preseason to probably make this roster now. But, he didn't know about it, apparently.
They never do.
But it's just interesting to me that he got a suspension for PEDs, but Danielle Hunter, his arms are just bigger than a house, so he finds a way to be all natural. But some people just have weird genetics too.
I think so. And it's so, for these guys to be getting all of these supplements and whatnot, obviously I have no idea what that is like to train as a professional athlete. But the way I've heard the PED testing, or not even PED, but like, you can get that stuff at GNC. And if you are not careful and you take that stuff, it will it can cause a failed test.
Yeah, because they make some of that stuff in the same facility where like banned substances for the NFL are made. So sometimes that stuff gets mixed up, and even if it's a trace amount, then sorry, dude.
Yeah. So not that I'm saying that I believe him. I'm just saying that is a much more complicated.
It's possible, but still you have to be smarter about that.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot like the draft.
Like, if you're going to take protein, just take, like, basic protein. You don't need to, like, have a bunch of crap in it.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're going to take that kind of stuff, stop taking it when you're, like, I don't know when these, are they randomly, like, tested all the time? Like, do they never know what's going on, or do they have some?
Yeah. I think they know the period where they're going to be tested.
Yeah.
But not the exact date.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the same thing with, like, getting tested for weed. Like, you know when it's coming, so you know when to stop, but some people don't.
That was going to be my segue into the combine failed test there.
Oh yeah, who's that? Antonio Callaway, the guy from Florida.
Like, come on, man!
You know it's coming.
You know it's coming.
Especially at the combine, everyone gets drug tested.
I just don't. It is the last, and I am. If you want to do that, thumbs up. I am not saying there's anything wrong with that. But if you have a test coming up where you're not supposed to be doing that, millions of dollars on the table.
If the career you want doesn't allow it, you have to find a way to not test positive.
You're exactly right. Not a way to stop. You need to find a way to not test positive.
If there's a way to use it during the season and you don't get caught, then fine. But
well, I think a lot of these,
like any any employer. Like if it's not allowed, and this is the company that pays you, then you got to figure out a way not to do it.
Exactly. And I also was reading that it wasn't a failed test per se. It was diluted. Exactly. Which is the same. So it's like, no.
Everyone says that anyways.
Yeah, but it's like, come on, man. Like you're just real close. And then all the way to not failing the test. Because good on you for drinking a lot of water. But
happens to be Callaway as a player. I think he was suspended last year at Florida. So it's not like this is something new with him. Which the Vikings are interested in a controversial, I guess you could put it in quotes, prospect. What's his name? Oh man, I can't remember right now. Let me look it up. But he was suspended last year. Oh, I think it's Holton Hill from Texas, cornerback. Okay. He was suspended last year for the end of the Texas season because he tested positive for could have been marijuana.
Mm-hmm. Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when they're in college, they don't have to. If they get suspended and it's
doesn't
not
have to be made public.
Yeah, they don't have to tell you why.
But this was like his third failed drug test in the past 2 years. So
those are not good numbers.
Again, it's college. I know it's cool. You want to experiment or just hang out and chill. It's legal in a bunch of states now, so. You just gotta be smart about it. If you want, it's just the career you want. You gotta figure out a way to
not fail that test. Yeah, really easy.
Simple. It actually, could cost you millions of dollars.
Yeah.
At the end of it. So
I see. That's where I wind up leaning. Is like I just feel bad for these kids because I don't think they get how much they are losing on a failed test like that.
Josh Gordon.
Yeah. It's a great example.
He lost a lot of money. He could have made a lot of money by now.
Well, never mind.
I think he's getting paid under $1 million next year.
Yeah, and now he just says that stigma is attached to him forever. Even if he is crazy productive over the next several seasons, there's still going to be that.
Yeah, he'll have probably a bunch. His next contract will probably have a bunch of incentives in it. Not a lot of guarantees.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Brothers suspended for 4 games.
Yep, so we'll see. He's going to have to be real good to make the regular season roster.
God, it's so hard for me to believe that he is going to even be there for that. Oh, did you have the Vikings acknowledge this at all? The suspension? Has any of this been? Yeah, see that
they didn't post it at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Nothing on their social media, nothing on there wasn't even a news blurb about it.
Yeah, that's a bad
I actually
sign.
Tweeted at him and I was like, "Hey guys, he's on your team, right? Yeah, this is news. You can't just ignore it."
And it feels like they're going to.
He put out a statement though.
Did he? Good. That's way to get out in front of it.
Immediate, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good sign for when your employer is not acknowledging that.
No,
not good, dude. Not good.
No. If it was like Xavier Rhodes or Harrison, not that any of these guys I think would do that, but Harrison Smith or something, they'd be like a statement on the news of
exactly
Harrison Smith's suspension.
Well, it's nothing
on Kentrell Brothers.
Probably nothing on Kentrell Brothers on Sports Center either. So
I think of the players that have been suspended before for off the field issues under Zimmer, there haven't been a lot, but they haven't made it to the regular season.
Yeah,
there's 2 other guys. There have been other players suspended under Zimmer, but their infractions occurred either before he was there or before they came to the Vikings, like Michael Floyd or Adrian Peterson, Jerome Simpson, those kind of guys.
Right. What else? The schedule was released officially.
Now we can make some semi-accurate predictions.
I mean, maybe for the first
better educated guesses.
Yes, there you go. That I will agree.
Still in April.
Yes, that was it. Maybe you get the first 3-4 weeks. I mean, the draft still has to happen, so that's going to be important for some teams as far as how if they're going to be good or not. Yep. But I mean, yeah, you can get a little bit better look. What worries you most about the games on the schedule at this point? Still early, obviously, but what are you seeing game-wise that's going to be difficult for the Vikings to...
They've got to play the Rams in L.A. on Thursday night. I think that's week 4.
Yep.
And that's a 4-day. They have 4 days to prepare for that. So and the Rams are going to be pretty good. So that's going to be a tough game.
And then the week after that, they're in Philadelphia.
Yeah, but since they play on Thursday night, they get like 2 or 3 extra days to prepare for the Eagles. So I think that's good. I think that's good for that game. So if they split those games, that'll be good. But I think it's possible they could get off to like a semi not good start because of some of the games and how they line up. Because they've got the 49ers who, they're supposed to be up and coming.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Garoppolo's never lost a start in his career. Again, they got the Packers after that, and they got the Rams.
Yeah, Packers in Green Bay week 2 with angry Aaron Rodgers is not going to be
healthy too.
Yeah,
he's definitely going to be. There's a very good chance he'll be healthy in week 2. But the good thing about that game is it's in September. They don't have to deal with the elements, so I think that'll benefit the Vikings because the Packers usually use the cold to their advantage somehow. And then there's that stretch later on in the year where they have to go to New England and Seattle in back-to-back weeks. And those are 2 places very tough to play. I think one's 4 o'clock, and then the other is Monday night in Seattle. I think Seattle hasn't lost a primetime game at home since 2006.
Wow.
So
that's unbelievable. Holy
It's a tough place to play no matter how good the Seahawks are. They're still probably going to have Russell Wilson healthy by then. They're still going to be competitive. So people are like, oh, the Seahawks aren't going to be that good next year. That game won't be so bad. But it's still that's a very hard place to play.
Definitely.
In prime time, especially in late in the season. So there's some tough stretches. They get to finish off 2 out of 3 at home, which is good against like the Dolphins, Lions, and Bears. So
correct.
If they're in a little bit of a rut, there's a good chance they could go on a little streak to get into the playoffs or improve their seeding into the playoffs. So I think it's a fair schedule. They don't have to go to London.
Yeah.
They don't have to play on Thanksgiving. There's a bunch of. They don't really have very many primetime games. A lot of their games are at noon Central Time. So I don't think it's that scary of a schedule. I think I predicted them actually to go 12-4 for my early prediction.
Yeah, that sounds feasible. I mean, that would make sense. I don't know. You know how afraid I am of New England and Tom Brady, and I guess Aaron Rodgers too. So
that was one of my losses.
Yeah.
Tom Brady. Because I think I looked up the Patriots at home in December since like 2000, 33-4.
Yeah, they are unbelievable in December.
Yeah, when you play them that late in the season, it's really at home. It's really difficult.
Yes. I guess the only other we kind of touched on some of the other stuff that we knew last week, like the Jets and Bradford, if he's still upright at that point, and
I mean, what
blah,
Jets?
Blah, blah. What? Or yeah, I mean the Jets with Teddy. Did I never said Teddy? God.
He said Brad.
The Jets and Teddy and Arizona and Bradford. We had mentioned those.
Chris Thompson threw a nice little dig at Bradford because he said there's a chance that the Vikings could play Bradford, and I don't know when they played them, like week 8 or 9 or something.
Yeah, it's later on.
But he would also have to be healthy to do that too.
Zing.
They do have a good bye week. I think that's what, like week
6, week 10. Yes, I was just going to mention that.
That's a good time to have a bye week. Middle of the season. Get some players healthy, rest up for the final stretch.
Because conceivably they could be 0-1, 0-2.
0-1.
I'm just saying, conceivably they could lose a number. I mean, they could be like under 500 at the bye week, which would be ugly, but possible. I don't know. It's still so early. It's so hard to predict. So many things have to happen. What if Gronk gets hurt again? I don't know.
Yeah, what if Brady gets hurt?
That's what I'm saying. What if Aaron Rodgers breaks his collarbone?
That never happened.
I mean, I don't know. There are so many things. Yeah, I think it's a safe bet that Seattle's going to be tough, though, late in the season.
Yeah.
All right. What else? The Eric Kendricks. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Dalvin Cook. Let's do that. Dalvin Cook is Mobile, running.
Yes. Participating in OTAs.
Got a very large brace on his knee, but
he only tore it 7 months ago. So
I was just gonna say, it wasn't that long ago that
it's a smaller brace than Teddy is wearing.
That's true. That is true.
But it looks like he's got most of his mobility back, at least in some of the clips that were posted online. He's still juking pretty fast, so he's got that quickness coming back. So he's supposed to be ready for training camp. I think that's the plan. They asked him if he'd be ready for the first preseason game. He said, the typical, I'm taking it day by day. We'll see what they want. But I think everyone expects him to be ready by week 1. So it shouldn't be a problem. I think they'll probably have a different maybe strategy to use him, not pound him in the ground so much. They know that they've got Latavius Murray can play if they need him to.
I just consistently forget that Dalvin Cook is on this team, and when you think about him playing that full season last season, that changes the dynamic of the playoff games, and I mean, he would have been a big part of that team.
His 3-game rushing total last year is more than any other rookie running back in Vikings history.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah,
real good. I hope
they can get a full season out of him. Who knows?
And then with Kirk, I mean, sky's the limit.
It really is. Get a draft an offensive lineman, get him in there, keep building that offensive line, protect him. They got a good shot.
All right, we'll wait on the draft stuff for a second about the offensive lineman. Let's get into that a little bit later. What else? What did I say before the Dalvin Cook? Eric Kendricks and his contract was the details kind of came out backloaded and very
team friendly.
Team friendly. Thank you I wouldn't have gotten there. Team friendly. Anything else to add on that backloaded team friendly?
Well, I think it was reported before this all came out that like around 22, maybe 25 was guaranteed, and that's only including. That's not fully guaranteed. So his signing bonus and his base salary for next year are the only things that are fully guaranteed. So that's like 11-ish, half million. So 11.5 of the $50 million contract is guaranteed. Other than that, the rest of it's, I think the 2019 and 2020 are guaranteed for injury. And then if he's on the roster like the third day of the new league year, becomes fully guaranteed. But the final 3 years of the extension are not guaranteed for anything. No injury guarantee. Nothing. So
Brzezinski strikes again.
I think the cap hit. Yeah, I think the cap hit in like 2021 is around 11 million. So by then, they'll either try and rework the deal to lower that cap hit, or that he might be gone.
Or by then the cap
trade him or something like that.
Cap is going to go up too.
The cap will be up by then.
Yeah, so it's 11 million is probably going to be nothing at that point, or not considered on the same way. So
yeah.
All right,
very good.
I think it's time for the draft extravaganza portion.
Are you going to have music for this too?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking a little music underneath while we talk, but definitely a sounder that says draft extravaganza. So.
Yeah. Sure.
Draft extravaganza.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we got to do. I was listening to the sports talk radio today, all draft, all day. Timberwolves have a playoff game tonight. You'd never know because it was all draft coverage. It was unbelievable.
NFL pays the bills.
Yeah, no kidding, right? And, I mean, I was listening intently, so I guess guilty is charged. Well, first of all, some needs for the Vikings in this draft. Number one, I think, easily is offensive line. Do you agree?
On the inside, yeah.
Yeah. Some other, I guess, needs. Obviously. But they won't draft it. I mean, they should, but they won't.
I wrote about that today.
Did you?
Yeah. There aren't a whole lot of good kickers that are available in this draft, so they probably won't. But there's a possibility. They probably will go the route of signing an undrafted free agent to compete. But I do think there'll be somebody in camp competing with Forbat.
I agree. There should be.
But yeah, offensive line.
offensive line, interior defensive line a little bit, because Sheldon Richardson, although he was signed, he is only signed for 1 year, so they're going to need people to take his place when he most likely is gone.
Nickel corner, I hear... Well, we've talked about that a little bit. Mackenzie Alexander may be progressing and stepping into a starting spot, so maybe that one you don't necessarily need a starter sneaky
right
one.
now.
Yeah, I think a sneaky one would be safety.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sendejo's cap hit is pretty low next year, and it's either, if they cut him next year, it's either a very low amount of money they would owe or nothing, I think. So he could become a casualty depending on either how this season goes or just what they do in the draft and stuff like that. So that's a sneaky position they might go after in the first couple of rounds.
I was going to say, in the first couple of rounds, do you see them going that way, or where do you think most likely the Vikings will land?
Well, it depends. There's a kid named Eric Reed who went to Stanford. He's a safety, and I think he has the ability to play nickel corner too.
Okay.
So he's someone, and I think they've met with him throughout this whole process, either at the combine. Actually, yeah, I think he might have been one of their top 30.
One of their 30, okay.
So there's interest there. But yeah, maybe tight end might be.
That's what I was,
because Rudolph, he's getting up there. His cap hit's gonna be getting high too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's someone I feel like they would restructure his deal to keep him there.
I keep seeing mock drafts with tight end going early, and I wouldn't have necessarily thought of that as a serious need for them to address, especially with the offensive line stuff and Berger, retiring and Searles being gone, and
that local kid from North Dakota State, Dallas Goddard.
Oh, South Dakota State. Yeah.
I think it was North Dakota.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was South Dakota. Let me look, though. Yes,
Is there a difference?
Dude, that's half our audience here, bud. Be careful.
I know.
Dallas. Wikipedia will tell us South Dakota State.
South Dakota. Okay. Oh, North Dakota is Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew he went to the opposite.
One of the Dakotas. I'm fine with just calling them Dakotas.
Dakotas. No, but he's been a prospect. I think they've met with him. There's been stuff about them being interested in him. He's like a Jimmy Graham caliber kind of guy. He's really fast for a tight end. He's a big dude.
Yeah, did you watch any of his highlight video
just
stuff?
Mauling people.
Dude, and all over the place. They got him the ball in a bunch of different weird ways. And
you can send him deep. He can line up as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad. That's kind of why people probably have been mocking him, because it wouldn't be horrible for the Vikings to add him to their offense.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can line up in so many different positions.
Do you think the most likely scenario in the first round is them trading out? It feels like they're going to trade out of the first round, doesn't it?
They have 8 picks. Everyone knows Rick Spielman's magic number is 10.
Mm-hmm. And it sure feels like they would be able to get, I don't want to say decent. I hate using that as a term. But a guy that could step in and start and play consistently on the offensive line later in the draft.
Guys that they want are still going to be... If they were going to trade back, it'd probably be in the early part of the second round, because there's a couple teams that have multiple second-round picks.
Yep.
I think it's the Browns, Colts, and Bills. I think the Colts and Browns both have multiple picks within the first 6 picks of the second round.
Okay.
So those could be 2 teams that might want to draft in the first round to get a guy that they think somebody else might take, and then Spielman would be like, oh, hey, thank you. And then I think they would still be able to get one of the guys they want. Because there's a bunch of guys, probably a handful, that they have their eye on, and they can probably still get if they trade back. So
well, and the nice part too, and Spielman talked about this a little bit in his press conference thing today, is because of Remmers being able to go to tackle or guard, it kind of allows them that wiggle room to pick later and then move one way or the other depending on what the best player in the draft available is at that point.
Yeah, I couldn't really hear him through all the smoke.
He was on with Paul Allen today, and
whole lot of nothing.
oh my god, it was hard to listen to, first of all, but that guy, he could be a politician. The way he can fill 15 minutes of a segment without literally not saying anything about anything.
It says so much. It says nothing at the exact same time.
Phenomenal ability.
I
to
really
do that.
don't. I think I just don't even pay attention to like when he has a press conference or something, because I'm just like, this is just going to be a waste of my time.
And especially not right now. You know, it's like this week especially, there is nothing to believe.
He's not going to give up his hand.
No. And honestly, the only information that anybody is giving anybody right now is misinformation to try and get them away from whoever they are actually looking to pick. So don't believe anything, listeners.
Mike Zimmer is the only one that you have a chance of getting something real out of, or something.
And I'm sure they're going to hide him for the next
Zimmer's admitted in the past too of saying stuff to swerve.
Yeah, mislead the media.
Yeah. I think he did that with Cousins when he was like, I don't want someone to come in here and get all that money. And then everyone's like, oh, Zimmer doesn't want them to get Cousins. He's not going to Minnesota. And then
they signed him.
He goes to.
Yes. And then the next interview that Zimmer gave, he said, oh, yeah, I do give bad information to get you guys off the scent.
I'm not going to tell you that.
Man, don't just say it. Like, come on. Do you have an offensive line prospect that kind of stands out to you, one that you would prefer the Vikings to pick, or anybody that you're like, I don't want to say attached to? Yeah, who's your dude? Do you got a dude? Do you got him?
I like Will Hernandez from UTEP.
Okay.
He's a bad dude. Like he's big. He's real big for a guard. Reminds me of David Dixon, who used to play for the Vikings.
Yeah.
Former giant dude on the Vikings offensive line. Yeah, Hernandez, he just like mauls people. Like, and he's athletic enough too to like run downfield on screens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
I think that is maybe more important to look at, not necessarily like where they're sitting on mock draft big boards, but like, can they play multiple positions? Do they get out into the open field on screenplays well? You know, like those types of things are what the Vikings are looking for their offensive linemen to do. Yeah, for now anyways. So I don't know, you can, I don't want to say eliminate guys, but...
Is there anyone that you had your eye on?
I would love for them to be able to take the Mike McGlinchey, but I don't think he's going to last all the way down there. Yeah, but I have seen several where weird things happen and a lot of quarterbacks go, and then all of a sudden he's available in the like.
You think they would trade up for him?
That's what I was going to say. If he's available in the 20 to 25 range, I feel like they could, because that's the kind of guy that you could. I mean, it's so hard to say because he is a tackle, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It's so tough because, like, he's graded out to be, like, really good, you know? But there are going to be guys who aren't graded well who are going to play great for a long time in this draft. There always is. But he seems like the kind of dude that you could have on your line for a long time.
Yeah, you also got to look at how much better is he really, if he's slipping, how much better is he really than a guy you can get at 30? Mm-hmm. Like if you get like an Isaiah Wynn from Georgia.
And if he's sliding to 30, how much better is he than a guy that you could get in the third round even, you know? Because that separation is not very much. Yeah, exactly. That separation is not that.
No, it's not that big of a difference.
Yeah, exactly right. I guess another guy that I really like is that I like Billy Price, but he was the dude that tore his pec at the combine, so I don't know if that is whatever, but he can also play multiple positions, which I know they like. And then that
former teammate of Pat Elflein.
Yeah, and then that one of us, Frank from
Ragnow.
Yeah, from Arkansas. I would like to see. Yeah, that's just a Minnesota thing. I don't know.
Everyone's high on him.
He is like gone crazy over the last couple
I wasn't from the clips I watched of him, his film or whatever. I wasn't real impressed. Like, I just wasn't.
Yeah.
Didn't do it. Like, he reminds me more of like a depth kind of guy, like a Jeremiah Searles or something like that.
Yeah.
Not someone I would reach and take in the first round.
Yeah, well, and that's Pro Football Focus has him as like the number one center and like should be a first round pick. It's like, you don't know about that.
Maybe he is.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. But, you know, I don't know. Because then you watch the video, like the highlight videos of who's the guard from Notre Dame. What is that kid's name? McGlinchey's the tackle, and then the guy that's going to go on he's a top 10 pick. I can't think of his name. But you watch that guy's highlight video, and it's like, okay, there's yeah, and like destroying guys. And then you watch some, you know, Frank's tape, and it's like, you're okay, dude. Like, but
Let me look it up real quick.
yeah, I can't. Oh, that drives me crazy. I honestly, God, like I saw his highlight video and was like, okay, cool. There's no way they're ever gonna draft him.
So you don't think the Vikings are going to draft Lamar Jackson?
I would like them to. I don't think they will.
No.
Actually, that is good. Do you think they will draft a quarterback? Do you think that is something they'll do in the later rounds?
I wrote about that too. I think they should. At least in the later rounds, they have like 3 picks in the 6th round, I think. You know, Trevor Simeon's got 1 year left on his deal. Kyle Sloter, there's a lot of talk about how good he is, but it's a lot of unknown. He's on a very small salary, so getting rid of him wouldn't be too hard either. I think if you can find someone that you like late in the draft, who's got pretty good potential, you know, at least you can get him on your roster and then build him up to trade in later years.
Yeah, where do you think
Trevor Simeon, Jimmy Garoppolo, or something like that.
Where do you think, speaking of Jimmy Garoppolo, where is the line for drafting a quarterback where it will anger the quarterback or maybe anger isn't the right word, where it will frustrate the quarterback that you just signed? If they pick a quarterback in round 1, do you think that makes Kirk Cousins angry? Where do you think that line is?
First 3 rounds.
3 rounds? Okay.
Because Cousins was drafted. He was drafted in the 4th round when the same year they drafted RG3.
RG3,
Washington. So I think if any 5th round and past that, I think that's a fair place to look at one. If there's a guy out there that they like who, you know, won't cause a lot of commotion. But I think it's good, too, to have someone who's young because, you know, what if Kirk Cousins doesn't work out?
Exactly.
But then you have a guy sitting there who's been in the offense, knows the system. You can just plug him in.
Look at the last however many seasons for the Vikings.
People say the same thing about Sloter too. Oh yeah, people say the same thing about Sloter too. They're like, well, you already have a guy like that, but he was undrafted for a reason.
I just don't. Where have you seen that? Where when people say, well, we got a guy like that. What information are you using to make that assessment?
They watched a couple preseason highlights of him from the Broncos playing against, you know, fourth stringer.
Just is not
fourth stringers. So.
Not enough for me, man. I just don't think he's.
If that was the case, then, you know, Taylor Heineke would still be here.
Exactly. Well, if that was the case, that's maybe a bad comparison. Johnny Flynn, or not Johnny Flynn, Matt Flynn.
If that was the case, Sam Bradford would still be there.
Yeah. There you go. There you
Johnny
go.
Flynn. Oh man,
Johnny Flynn. Yeah, sorry.
Dropped the name there.
I meant Matt Flynn.
I love him.
Johnny Flynn.
I like Johnny Flynn, Syracuse guy.
Dude,
that's when he was good.
That is a sore
that was
subject.
A reach.
What's
that, the
no, that's
Curry draft?
Yeah, and it's Rubio, Flynn, Curry is picked after those two. Yeah, so it's we don't like to talk about it very much.
Yeah.
Here.
Where's he now? China or something?
No, he had the hip injury that Isaiah Thomas is dealing with right now, and he's donezo. Like, it was like a hip injury and out. I don't even think he may have signed with another team after the Timberwolves, but it would have been like a comeback attempt, and it never worked.
He was fun to watch at Syracuse.
Oh man, Syracuse, he was so fun. I used to love those Syracuse teams when he was playing.
Oh yeah.
Quarterbacks, do you have, I guess we can kind of take Well, no, let's keep the top guys in there because I kind of want to know. Well, I know what you think about some of them, but do you have a favorite / do you have a least favorite or perhaps a too hyped quarterback?
The top guys.
Yeah.
I like Baker Mayfield. I think he has him and Lamar Jackson have the most upside, I would say.
Yeah.
I like Josh Rosen's cockiness because he just doesn't really care. I think I saw a clip of him yesterday, someone asking him, about would you be disappointed if you weren't the first quarterback selected, and he's said something like if he had to be the water boy next year, he'd be the best water boy you've ever seen or something like that.
Yeah.
I like dudes like that who aren't afraid to just not say the general stuff like, well, I'll be picked where I picked and, we'll see what happens. But no, he's just like, I'm going to be the best there ever was. So,
yeah.
But I don't like Josh Allen, if you've ever listened to this podcast before. Mason Rudolph, I kind of like him. Yeah. He's just a little sleeper, kind of late first, early second round kind of guy that I think could actually be pretty good in the right offense.
I agree with basically everything you said. Josh Allen, I just am not... I mean, I get that he has a big arm, but aside from that, I just am not really seeing what everyone else is.
If you have a big arm, you got to be able to throw to people, though.
Yeah, and he just
got to be able to catch it.
Totally. And I guess on that, accuracy and my secret sleeper, going to be good later pick is the kid quarterback from Richmond, Kyle Lauletta. He is awesome. I caught a little bit of the Senior Bowl, and he was like the only dude that stood out to me while I was watching it. He was like, I don't know. There's just certain dudes, that like eye test thing, like the ball just like kind of comes off his hand different. He looks like he gets it. And then Pro Football Focus tells me he's crazy accurate and in the like intermediate, range, which is basically in the NFL,
every offense.
Yeah, every offense, and the trait that you're looking for. So I feel like he could be really good.
That's
I like
thing,
him a lot.
That's what drives me nuts about Rosen. They're like, oh, he's got Allen. He's got this giant arm, throws deep passes. Like, how many times do NFL teams throw deep passes? Like maybe 4 or 5 times a game. It's
like being really, really good at shooting full court basketball shots. It's like that's awesome that you can do that. I can't do it, and it's impressive. Yeah, but there's no way you're going to do that in a game like ever. So what would it? Like, cool, man. You can throw a ball 50 yards from your knees and hit a crossbar. When are you going to need to do that?
Because in the NFL, a defense can easily just be like, okay, we'll just take away the deep ball.
Mm-hmm. If that's literally all you are capable of doing well, then they will not let you do that.
You gotta throw 15-yard outs or whatever. See you do that, dude.
And I saw Kuiper had the Browns taking Josh Allen #1 overall. That would be a huge bummer for them.
Sometimes I feel like people talk about clickbait. Sometimes I feel like he's trying to get noticed. Like he sees all these other draft analysts that are coming out on Twitter and other sites and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, I gotta throw something out there." It's sort of like a Stephen A. Smith sort of thing where I gotta say something outrageous.
I gotta be the one.
Get noticed.
And could you imagine being a guy who for like 15 to 20 years was like the only guy doing that, and was like, and he's not even close to being the only guy who's doing it. And honestly, like, I'm sure if you like ask the majority of football fans, no, he's not even close to the best. Not even close.
Guys that are on TV are not the best draft analysts out there.
Oh man, well, and especially Kuiper has moments where it's like, oh man, you're a dinosaur. Like, I can just hear just the way you're talking about prospects. I can tell that you got no clue on some of these guys.
He's good because he knows about a lot of players. That's where he's good. He can tell you a lot about the players. That's where he's good at his job. But predicting where they are and who fits where is not his forte. Mm-hmm. Like a guy like Mayock, a lot of people are like, oh, he's the best guy out there. No, I don't think so either. Because I think he has Josh Allen higher than like Rosen and Lamar Jackson and stuff. And and he in the past had Mark Sanchez over Matt Stafford. So like,
Whew. Sanchez over Stafford.
Some of these guys, I just think they're just trying to say outrageous stuff so they get noticed.
Well, and how often do you ever hear anybody go back and be like, "Hey, man, your mock draft from last year was garbage," and not even
people
close.
do that all the time.
Well, I mean, but like, it seems like a lot of those guys
not the
are
general public,
consistently
but like,
wrong. Yeah.
I think Kuiper said like 8 years ago, or not 8, but around, I don't know, sometime, that if Jimmy Clausen wasn't going to be Pro Bowl quarterback, then he would retire in 2018. It's 2018, and where's Jimmy Clausen? You should be announcing your retirement this week.
And instead, he's going to be on television.
You're like, I
24 straight hours. And no bathroom breaks, evidently. That's like one of his things. He doesn't take bathroom breaks the whole time.
That's disgusting.
It's weird. Well, he's a monster. He's not a real human. He's not normal. His hair is fake. He doesn't have. I think he's like I think he's a robot.
If they really wanted to, they could just put Frank Caliendo out there for a couple segments, and no one would probably really notice.
You were probably right about that.
Especially in like the Saturday coverage when not a whole lot of people are watching.
Yeah, he does a really good job. Todd.
Yeah.
So, are you a McShay guy or are you a Kuiper guy?
I'm not an ESPN guy.
Yeah, I dislike them both equally. Is that a possible answer?
I haven't watched ESPN in a long time.
Oh man, I used to be a McShay guy, and then he had Mitch Leidner on that one.
He's
gone. Can't do it. Credibility lost. You're out, bro.
He's gonna be first round pick.
Oh, that was so bad.
Really?
And we've talked about it, he's since admitted that I didn't even like write that. I had my staffers do it, but like,
yeah, when it's your job, you gotta check that stuff. Be like, if you don't even know who a guy is, you should probably check that out.
Exactly. And your name was the one on the top of it.
You're putting your name on
Todd
it. Put your name on it.
Yeah, and so you should look at that. Okay. Draft extravaganza. Back to it. Other tight ends. We talked about the South Dakota kid. I keep hearing this Mike Gesicki from Penn State. Gesicki?
Somebody will figure it out.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He reminds me of like a Kyle Rudolph, like a Greg Olson kind of guy. Not amazingly athletic or like speedy fast like Goddard, but
I'm gonna go with Godare on him. By the way, I just want to acknowledge that real quick. Godare, that's where I'm going. So yeah, French. I mean Colbert, Godare. So just going forward, just so everybody knows that. Yeah, he looks good. That one I've seen him.
Secchi, who's the guy from Wisconsin? He's got like a funky name.
I don't do Wisconsin prospects because I can't stand Wisconsin.
Really?
It was just there for 4 days, but
that's fair.
Can't stand.
There's a guy from Florida State who played with Dalvin Cook. There's some tight end options. I don't think it's a huge need, obviously, because they have Rudolph and David Morgan. But if there's a guy they like in the early rounds, I think they could go after it. Who is this guy? It's gonna bug me. This is great podcasting today, by the way.
Yep.
Just look at people.
You know, there's a dude on KFan who has a button for when he's looking something up, and it's just like intermission music. I'm not saying, but I'm saying it's maybe something we could consider.
Troy Fumagalli.
That is a fun name. Fumagalli?
He's missing one of his fingers, too, I think. One of his 9 fingers.
Weird.
But he's 6'6", 248. He had 46 catches and 4 touchdowns last year. He's pretty good. And Vikings like those prospects from the Big Ten.
Yes, they do. Cornerback, have you done much on cornerback, defensive back?
Yeah. There's a kid from Louisville, Jair Alexander.
Okay, cool. That was one that I was watching. He looks really good. Another guy that I was looking at was Mike Hughes. Both of those dudes, he's the UCF national champion, University of Central Florida.
I think they both return kicks too, or they're both.
Oh, do they? Oh, okay. But both of them are not 6 feet tall. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that like one of Zimmer's big things? Is that you got to be over 6 feet tall if you want to play corner?
I don't know. He had Captain Marlin.
Oh yeah, good call.
So I think for nickel, he doesn't stress that as much. I think it's more
okay. The outside guys
on the outside.
Because
with nickel, you're more defending like the smaller slot guys like Jarvis Landry and not Wes Welker. He's gone, but Edelman and stuff.
Yeah.
But Hughes, a lot of people like him. I'm a little skeptical. Because he was only last year was his only year as a starter at UCF. He transferred from North Carolina because he was suspended for, I think he knocked a guy out cold at a frat party. So he's good. He's a good returner. He's fast. So yeah, he's a guy I wouldn't mind if the Vikings went after him. There's another guy I think from Colorado.
There's just so many names, man. It's too much.
Yeah, I did a lot of this stuff. I did like a month ago because I wanted to get ahead of everything, and now. But no, there's some corners I could be interested in for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a guy from Iowa, Josh Jackson.
Yeah.
Seen that name thrown around a bunch.
Pro Football Focus has him as like the number one. I think he's going to go too high for them to be able. If he falls, that would be great. But everything I've seen is he goes in like the top 15. All of the mocks that I've seen. Yeah. And also, so many mocks. How can you tell which ones are good mocks, which ones are bad mocks?
None of them are good.
No, when I'm trying to like get who is telling me the same information more than, a few times, maybe that is something I should investigate because it seems to be more plausible. I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah, I did a story last year, I think, for the comeback. And I found out like the best guy had 8 right out of 32. Oh, Isaiah Oliver is the guy from Colorado.
Okay.
That people keep falling in love with, I guess. But I wasn't too impressed with him. I think I remember he would lose track of the ball sometimes, and just hit the receiver instead of turn around know where the ball is, and you get flagged a lot. So.
It's really interesting how different coaching staffs in college they teach their kids, obviously coach their kids to do different things. Like Ohio State's like D-back coaching is never look for the ball, just pay attention. So like these are like things that these draft guys are like going through and figuring out what they're going to need to like. These are part of their weaknesses. It's possible that those Ohio State cornerbacks are very good at playing the ball, but have not been doing so because of where do you get this information? How do we figure that out about these guys? Is there a combine drill that they do that shows us if they're any good at
corner? Is very,
I don't know.
Corner, I think corner and quarterback are probably the two hardest positions to transition to.
Yeah, because so much can change. Yeah, so much can change based on what your offensive
line is starting to get that way too.
Yeah. Well, do you have any big predictions for the draft? Do you got any? What do you think? How do you want to? What kind of a bow are we going to put on the draft extravaganza?
For the whole draft, I threw this out there today that my one and only hot take for the whole thing is that Lamar Jackson will be drafted in the top 10.
Whoa, that would be awesome. Who do you think takes him? Not part of the hot take.
I think he would be good in a place like Denver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they would take him that high. But I think a team might trade up to get him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, top 10. I think he's being not talked about a lot for a reason because teams don't want to throw it out there that they are interested in him.
Yeah. Honest to God, he played the most, not last year, but the year before, was the most impressive I've ever seen a college football player look. was when Lamar Jackson was on his stretch, not last year but the year before. He was absolutely unbelievable. And I don't know how you can look at a player like that and think that that's not going to translate to the NFL. Guy won a Heisman Trophy. Guy
they all look at it like the Norv Turners of the world. Like, how is he going to fit in my offense?
Exactly.
It's like, no, how are you going to make your offense fit him?
How can we fit a square peg into a round hole?
We've beat this dead horse many times.
So many times.
But for the Vikings, I don't think they'll pick an offensive lineman in the first round. If they're still picking in the first round, I don't think it'll be an offensive lineman. I think there's plenty of guys they can get in the second or third round.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll probably go best player available first round.
And that actually, we haven't talked about that, but this best player available usually doesn't make a lot of sense to me and seems to be misused by teams. This is actually a scenario where the Vikings are that makes sense. Take the best player available because your roster is in pretty good shape and you could get good offensive linemen later.
What if it's a running back?
Whoa. I think that's good. I mean, that might...
Davius Murray only has 1 year left on the field.
And you got your other guy is coming off of an ACL injury. I don't think that would be a bad pick.
I think people would freak out.
Yeah.
But if they get somebody like Darius Geis from LSU, a couple other guys, yeah, I'd be surprised if the Vikings didn't draft
his name. Geis, I wanted Juice so bad. I kept saying Juice in my head because that just sounds like an awesome football player's name. So, all right.
Yeah. There's only a
Geis. That makes sense. Yeah, man.
I'd be surprised if the Vikings didn't pick a running back in the draft. I don't think people really realize it. They're like, oh, they got Dalvin Cook. They're good.
Yeah, I don't think it's that easy.
Not a lot of teams have just one running back anymore.
Mm-hmm. I don't think. I mean, and you can tell why, because after Dalvin Cook and Latavius, both of those were injured. Yeah, it's hard to...
Even look at a team like the Steelers. When Le'Veon Bell gets hurt, that team is screwed. They don't really...
have anybody else behind him, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
look at a team like the Eagles last year.
Yeah, it's so important to have good depth because it's the NFL. Guys always get hurt. There's always important parts of your team who are going to get hurt. And if you don't have depth at those important positions, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And I think this is a good draft for the Vikings because they can add a lot of depth where, by the best player available.
It's good because they have a lot of their starters already set, so they can draft for depth. They don't have to worry about finding a new left tackle or something like that, or a new number one receiver. They can just draft for depth.
Or a quarterback, which is also
exciting. Right. That's good. Wait, let's see. Yeah. Kirk Cousins will be the 6th different Week 1 starter this year if he is healthy in Week 1.
Golly.
In the last 6 years.
That is not a good percentage at all. I'm going to go, here's my hot take.
People were like, why'd they give him so much money? That's why.
That's why. Here's my hot take for the Vikings draft. I think they are going to move up.
Oh.
And I'm not saying I like it, because I think they don't have enough draft picks to do that without having it kind of come back to bite them in the butt. Yeah. But I think a player in the first round is going to fall, because that first round is going to be so goofy. There's going to be so many trades. There's going to be so many quarterbacks.
Especially with quarterback.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of those really good players that they didn't think they were going to have a chance at are going to fall. And I think they'll move up. That's my hot take. That's what I'm going with.
They traded up last year for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, that's right. And I forget, too, that he was a second rounder. Elflein was a third rounder. Like, that whole thing was shifted down. And we got, what a draft to be able to get 2 starters in rounds 2 and 3. And, well, and I guess technically Gideon, even though they don't play much of their base defense, but he technically is a starter out of that draft as well. So, pretty good, Mr. Spielman.
Yeah, for sure. They got Stacey Coley too. See how he does.
Oh, Yeah, man. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
That reaction was a little underwhelming.
Yeah, you know, I
you don't know.
I don't know. I would like to see him draft a wide receiver or a tight end
what if they did that in the first
Godair. I don't know if I would want to see. Well, it all depends on who falls, because I feel like you can.
What if they draft a receiver? What does that say about Stephon Diggs?
That is not a good sign.
Or is that more about Treadwell?
I think it would be more about Treadwell, because here's the way I've been looking at it, and also with the defensive back stuff too, is you're pretty set right now. You're in good shape. But if one of those guys gets hurt, then what do you have? And on the wide receiver side, you're looking at like Diggs, or if Thielen or Diggs gets hurt, it's going to be that guy, and then.
Well, Diggs is good. He's due for 2 games a year to sit out. So,
so I just feel like that
soft tissue groin injury or something.
Yeah, for real. It is every season. But yeah, I think that I think they need depth there. I think they need depth at cornerback / defensive back. Because same thing with cornerbacks. If Xavier Rhodes goes down early in the season for the rest of the year, that is all of a sudden not a real impressive defensive back group, or a cornerback group, I should say.
Although I do feel a little safer if a cornerback was injured, just because Mike Zimmer, that's his strength.
Yeah, good call. Yeah,
coach up those guys, and he wouldn't put them in a position where they would fail. I don't think.
Yeah, and that too kind of makes me believe that Mackenzie Alexander is going to be a lot better this year. Well, I shouldn't say a lot better, but if you look at Waynes, you look at Rhodes, Mackenzie Alexander, the third year is kind of the year that it gets better. So I don't know if you could get that, and then possibly get a starting caliber corner for later on. I mean,
it's going to be fun, because I think past years we've pretty much had an idea of what the Vikings were going to do.
Yeah.
Like with Trey Waynes, even when Treadwell was drafted, everyone pretty much knew they were probably going to draft a receiver.
Yeah.
Matt Khalil,
Yeah.
Just knew. But this year, got no idea.
Well, and it feels like they have no idea until the rest of the picks happen either. It's like they're not even going to know what to do. So yeah, it'll be exciting. I will be live tweeting it. No big deal.
This is one of the more. I think this is one of the more exciting drafts in a while.
Yeah.
Just with all the quarterbacks and everything.
Yeah, there just seems to be so much uncertainty, so much more uncertainty this year than in previous years. Because like you said, we usually know who's going first. We usually know who then is going to go second, but not this year. I hope Saquon Barkley goes first. I think that would be fun.
That's not going to happen.
No, it's not, but it would be fun. And come on, dude, it's the Browns. You don't know. You don't know that's not going to happen.
That's true. I think running backs. I think I saw they last probably like their average careers like 4 to 6 years. And quarterbacks like 8 to 10. So that's why running back will probably never go number 1 again, unless it's like I don't even know.
I was going to say, because if this is the guy, that would be that guy, wouldn't he? Like
Ezekiel Elliott didn't even go number 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Saquon Barkley is a better prospect because of the lack of issues off the field, but from like a running, catching, new NFL standpoint, dude, he could be a beast. You liked Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah, he didn't have any issues. He didn't have any issues going into the draft. It was just after.
Off the field? No, I thought he had issues off the field at Ohio State.
No.
Wow.
Well, maybe like grumpiness or something like that. But
like grumpiness.
Well, like
I would love to read that on a scouting report.
Kind
of grumpy.
Well, I'm sure.
I was going to say at this point, I'm sure I'll find it before the day is over.
I've seen ridiculous scouting reports this year where like people wrote about someone's skin being too tight. Like, what?
How is that even? I mean,
I think you just run out of. These guys. They do so many scouting reports. They run out of like descriptions, and they got to try and figure out like something else.
Or then you wind up writing the same thing about the same guy, or different guys over and over. So then it's like, oh, here's the one thing that makes this guy a little bit different. Tight skin. Write it.
But shout out to those guys. They do a lot of work and make me and our job a lot easier.
Oh, 100%. I would be totally lost without those guys, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart. I was trying to go somewhere else. I didn't know where to go. All right. Do you got anything else on the draft stuff? Draft extravaganza kind of in the book?
Talk about the results on Monday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because a quick turnover. Wednesday, see you Monday.
Even do, some grades, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Loves those.
No grades. No grades from this podcast.
By me.
How about instead of grades, we'll just go thumbs up, thumbs down for the entire draft. All right, sounds good. Good time. All right. See you next week.
Yeah, see you Monday.
Skol Vikes.
Oh.